I move back and forth. Welcome to another gorgeous day on planet Earth and another day of Dose of Did You Know, where intriguing, inspiring, unique individuals come to talk love in life and how it got them to where they are today. And this is really cool because you're kind of a bundle of all multi-level. Is that even how to describe you? Multi-purpose? Probably not multi-purpose. Multi-level kind of guy. You can make that, you can change that verbiage however you want to. But Derek, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you, Danny. Excellent. Yeah.
I'm super excited to talk with you. Plus, I just found out you might be a little delusional because you got in so early from driving. So it might be fun.
I am a little delusional right now. Yep. I got in about 2 o'clock this morning, traveling home from Rhode Island. Got a late start yesterday, but nonetheless, and a late start this morning. But we're good. We're good to go.
Here. So we're going to be on the same wavelength. This is going to be great. So before we get started, tell the world a little bit about who Derek is, because that's kind of a cool name.
Who am I? I'm a little kid out of Rhode Island, the smallest state in the union, and decided to go into the military at 18 years old. Just because, and about 2.5 years later, you know, some jerks decided to throw a couple of planes into some towers, and that thrust me into war for 17 years. So I'm a 20-year military guy, retired last February, and right now, I mean, I've put all that away. That's not me anymore. And for the last 2 years, I've thrust forward and lean forward in the foxhole, I guess you can say, and been trying to tackle the real estate industry. So, who am I on the inside? Well, I'm son of a king. I believe in the Lord. I follow the Lord, and I try to live my day, day in and day out with Him, and just follow the ways that He has presented for us, and just try to improve every day. And really try to throw that love out there as much as I possibly can. Serve anytime I can. Serve.
Yeah, lead with love. That is like my mantra. Sometimes I fail at it.
Yeah.
But that is not only do you do the real estate, you're actually bumping into another aspect of your life, right?
I am. Yeah. So I've always kind of had, so let's put it this way, about 12 to 15 years ago, I actually spent some time on the other side of the war. I worked up in Washington, D.C., and I was in Arlington. So I worked in Arlington National Cemetery for nearly 3.5 years or so. And then I went over to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and I was there doing some training to be a sentinel there. Amongst all of that, I had the opportunity to do some transfers over in Dover, and of course, that was in the heart of the war. So there was a lot of that going on as far as seeing that side. So not to really go into much detail, but during that whole time period, I gained a passion, just being in and around a lot of that, the politics and everything else. I gained a passion for politics. And so I started to just kind of follow it and just really study up on it a lot. And honestly, I went to the Special Forces selection in 2006 with the idea of going through and becoming a Green Beret, finishing off, retiring, and possibly going into the agency, and then kind of finding my way back into DC that way. But at 20 years, at 38, I was like, it's time for me to put the rifle up and throw the boots away, and really focus in on how to make a difference with my mind as opposed to my trigger finger. So I've been dipping into some politics here and there. I started about last year sometime, about mid-year last year. And it's been a little bit of a slow process. Mm-hmm. I've also changed my real estate market. So that's kind of changed my environment, my scope for where I am with politics too. So it's just I'm dabbling a little bit here and there, and it's going well. It's going well, actually. I'm getting networked in with a lot of good people, and we'll see where it goes. I'm not going to throw anything out there. No teasers, no nothing like that. Nobody. I'm not saying anything. No 22, 24. I don't know yet.
You're going to see where it goes. I would find it interesting to see how that goes because of like just the person you are inside, right? Like you follow faith, you try to lead the best life you can possibly lead, evolving. And how does that work when you think of the political world? I think that those two should be together.
Well, one of the great things that you learn as a Green Beret is that you find yourself in a lot of uncomfortable places. And I actually thrive off of that, and I love it. So me throwing myself into that arena, not even knowing what is going to happen, that honestly, that helps me. That's the best way that I do evolve. I learn as I go. There are a lot of mistakes. I mean, that creates a complete roller coaster. It does. So there are a lot of triumphs and there are a lot of failures.
Yeah.
But I mean, just for me as, to my core, I know that in most cases, some of those failures or most of those failures actually help you evolve better than the triumphs do, because I analyze, I overanalyze, I to the most minute detail, analyze those failures and figure out, hey, how do I do it better the next time? So sure, let's thrust myself into something that I don't have any idea about, and go from there and learn it as I go. Not that I don't know anything about how politics work. I do. I study it in formal education, and even as a Green Beret, I always use the term a political combatant, because in a lot of ways, when you're overseas, you're implementing foreign policy. Things are coming down from the Pentagon, and you're implementing foreign policy, and there's a lot of politics involved there. I was an enlisted guy, so I didn't deal with a whole ton of that. It was more so the officer side, but there's still that element there that I did have to involve myself with.
Yeah, but don't you kind of find that you never fully know until you know? So it's like that humbleness of saying you learn as you grow. I think we all do that, because you can read about it, you can watch it, until you actually apply it yourself, you really don't know anything, or you know like this much about any topic.
No, and that's that whole cliche thing, analysis paralysis. You can't go into it thinking you're going to be perfect at anything. Just lean forward.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my MO. Just lean forward, and it'll come. It'll figure itself out. It'll work its way out. So just be very calculated. I mean, don't be too over analytical, but be calculated about your moves, and understand who you have in your immediate circle. And try not to be that smartest person in the room. That's always something I've stood by. If I'm ever the smartest person in the room, I'm leaving that room right away.
Yeah, it is. Just do a loop. Yeah. Just do a loop and leave.
Or just a little loop. Be like, all right, I'll be right back. No, seriously,
Bye. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. So I have a question. When I was listening to you talk about like your stream of life, and I gotta go back a little bit because I'm curious. So you joined at 18, and then there you go. And did you know, or was it a spur of the moment when you joined at 18?
Actually, it was kind of a spur of the moment. So this is an interesting story that people don't know. So I didn't come from a very affluent family, and I was trying to pay for college on my own. It's not that my family was completely bad off. We were good. I had a great childhood. We just didn't have a whole ton of money. And of course I think I did the typical thing as a teenager. I fumbled around with my grades here and there, I didn't get the scholarship, whatever. So I started to go to college. I have an older brother, and he was away for some time, and he comes back. He's 4 years older than me. He comes back, and at that moment, things weren't working out with college, and I just happened to walk to my mailbox one day, and I saw that actually I was supposed to be a Marine, at 17, but my mother wouldn't sign the paperwork.
Well, I won't hold that against you because my son is 20.
Yeah, well, I'm fine. I'm fine with the fact that I ended up in the Army and became a Green. I'm completely fine with who I came out.
You're okay.
Yeah. So I saw that brochure, and my brother came home at the same time, and I said, "Hey, man, this is like 3 months into the semester, the first semester of my first year in college." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm just thinking about doing this." And he's like, "Okay." So we signed up on the delay program before the holidays. We did, both of us, because he decided he wanted to do it too. And January 12th, 99, him and I flew down to Fort Benning, Georgia to go be 11 Bravo infantrymen and thrust into 6 months of basic training in AIT together as battle buddies going through all of that. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I can tell you some pretty cool stories about my brother and being the big bro there for a little while. Yeah, that takes some time, but it was a great time. Honestly, looking back, I had a blast. So that happened. So I just came into it, and honestly, when I had that brochure, honest to God, I came into the military to do 3 years. I had the idea of doing law enforcement afterwards. So my recruiter was like, "You don't want to go be an MP, you want to be an infantry guy." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go be 11 Bravo. I don't know anything." So. Of course, I came in to get some college money, and then 2.5 years later, after sucking things up, and both him and I were in the 101st. So we were both in the 1st 327 Infantry Regiment. I was in Alpha Company, he was in Charlie Company, or was it vice versa? Either way, he was 2 doors away from me.
Yeah.
When I got to our first unit, and 2.5 years later, I remember I was home on leave with my best friend. I woke up at 9 o'clock that morning on September 11th, looking at the towers burning. And my best friend asked me one question, I'll never forget it. He said, "What does this mean for you?" And I'll never forget my response. And I said, "Well, I'm going to war." That's exactly that's the first thing that came out of my mind, out of my mouth. And
yeah.
How
did that, I know that was your reaction, but was there like a holy effing after that, at some point, or was it just?
Oh yeah, certainly. I had just turned 21. I actually 2 months prior to that, I had received orders to go to Korea for a year, so I had no idea what was going on with that, right? But I called my squad leader. I said, "Hey, I'm up." We did the whole accountability thing that morning. "Hey, I'm up. Okay, good to go. Do I need to get back now?" He's like, "No, just finish your leave up and get back." So I got back. Actually, my orders for Korea never got canceled. So I went to Korea November of 2001 for a full year. So I saw the whole Afghanistan, the whole initial part of that play out while I was in Korea, sitting up on the DMZ, which was interesting as well. And then I got back from Korea in November of 2002. 3 months later, as soon as I got back, I went to 2nd at 327. So I went to the next battalion over. And 3 months later, I was sitting in Camp Pennsylvania, Kuwait, getting ready to invade Iraq.
Yeah.
So it was I didn't have any time to think.
Yeah.
It was, I'm young. I know how to pull the trigger. I've been trained to do this. Let's go.
I think that is kind of what you go into, that we're given I think that's a little bit of an ego involved, and not in a bad way. I believe God gave us our egos to protect us, right? Mm-hmm. It's when it becomes unbalanced in our humanistic world that ego takes over a bad form. So between our ego and our fight and flight and stay, all of these primitive things that were perfectly placed in our body, I think that establishes these patterns in our life, right? That you are supposed to do to stay alive, to move forward, and the purpose that you're supposed to be living. And that story right there makes kind of just take that and reform it into bigger aspects of your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't. So I like to write, and I have a lot of that. I have a lot of those stories kind of bulletized, so to say. And
Yeah.
do I want to put it together in a book form? Absolutely, 100%. But I've taken every single one of those incidents. I don't forget. Gosh, I could never forget that that entire year of being over there. Every single moment, every time I got into contact, every time I had a shot fired at me, every time I shot something, every little movement. As a matter of fact, I was just going through some pictures. I was just showing my father when I was home for Christmas. Just a stack of pictures from everything, from every hop, every city that we hopped, and I was able to have one of those portable cameras, and I was able to capture a lot of stuff. So either way, I've taken every small little thing and I've kind of plugged them in as pieces to who I am and what my foundation is.
Yeah.
And so I try to continually apply that, and even today, every small little thing, every single day, even outside of the military and doing the things I'm doing now. I mean, I see every small little incident or every little moment in your life an opportunity to plug into your foundation and build it stronger, and just kind of
yeah. I would actually be super curious to for you to take those stories and there be like a foundational statement or a foundational paragraph, and see how each of those stories kind of applied and you grew. That'd be fascinating. So if you just want to this right here, I would totally dig that book.
Well, yeah, I was actually just talking to a friend of mine the other day, because I've started to write a lot of stuff about real estate too, like leadership in real estate. And I have probably a gig or two of notes from all other stuff, other types of leadership incidents and things over the years. And she was ex-military as well. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of revising it a little bit so it's leadership in real estate. And she's like, well, that's good, because every guy gets out and they make a leadership book for the military. And if you're doing something different, that'll make you stand out. I was like, all right, yeah. So, but
you could do a whole soul, your soul faith thing, which I'm totally going to dig. Then in your career, right, and apply it that specifically. Okay, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, and I'm deep too. Yeah, that is a whole other conversation, and I'm pretty deep too. I mean, like I said, I've established my relationship with the Lord this year, but I've always been a Christian. I've always been really deep, and I've always been just I get somebody told me one time philosophical. I was a philosopher. I was like, don't go that far. Whoa, wait, hold up. But no, but yeah. I mean, I like to get very deep on things, and so I can probably come up with that statement you want.
I've got lots of ideas. Buzz is out there watching, and he has this book, and one of the things, it's the second book that he's coming out with. But it was relationships are my jam. That's where I focus my stuff. Yours can be leadership or what, but it's always, I come from this faith base, because I believe you have to think of outside of yourself. If you just think that this is it right here, that is the slowest death of existence ever, because I really don't know that much in the world, in the scope of the world, right? We have to learn from history. We have to learn from mistakes. So I use it I use the Bible, and I look at scripture every single morning. And from that scripture, I believe in relationship. First, you have to apply it to yourself, and then you have to look how you're not applying it outside of yourself, and how to then reapply it, right? Yeah. Because if you don't look here first, where you're not applying it, how can you see where you're not applying it outside of yourself? So many times people look at motivation or scripture, whatever it is that they believe in, and they see how it doesn't apply to them, how the world isn't working for them, how people aren't working for them, and that makes that motivation or that scripture then right. And I'm like, that's a back-ass word. It's how you're not applying it to you, or how you can better apply it to you, so then you can better apply it into your relationships.
You're exactly right. And I think this year, and I think everybody that's probably watching right now is thinking in their mind right now what you're saying. I think this year has been that year where it's like everybody's been looking prior to this year outside of your bubble. And I think this year has been that, whoa, hold up. Let me put the blinders on. Let's bring it back into my circle, to my core, and figure out me and what my foundation is. And I mean, most people, I think, that they're, been trying to go through the year and really focusing on improving themselves. I being one of them. And I've learned that lesson this year, right? And so I actually just put something out the other day. It was just a relationship type of thing. And that is so key. Yes, everything ripples from that center. And if that center is not solid, there's not going to be any ripple. There's nothing. You can't express yourself outward and improve things around you if right here isn't improved and isn't solid. So very faith-based. And I mean, just, gosh, I live my days every day like that too. And and it's a I don't want to say a struggle. It's a task. Mm-hmm. Every day is a task, and every day you have to take one thing and kind of, I don't want to say change it, but improve it. Buff it a little bit, and after time, it's just, I mean, I guess it's kind of funny because I grew up in an age in the military where you had to shine your boots, and that discipline that you gain from that. A lot of guys and gals don't have these days because they don't shine boots.
Yeah.
Is something else, because it's to this day I still do it.
Yeah, and it's like the simple step, but you can't go shine in your career or be meticulous in your career if you don't notice that the smallest thing needs it. Yeah. So it's this constant building, and I'll go into, like, it is a struggle every day. I'll just be there. It's like, it is a struggle every day to live that way, because when you're constantly in this, like, looking at yourself and your actions, you're like, you see how human you are, and how the thought and that you have. So not a struggle in a bad way, a struggle in a good way. When you're like building something that you really want and it's hard, and you might sweat, and it's like a struggle, but it's like good struggle because you're going to get something out of it.
Oh yeah. I like good struggle. Yeah. I do. I really do. I will thrust myself. One moment just came into my mind, actually, that I'll share, and I've shared it on social media. But struggle will really teach you something. I went to, what was it, 2014? I want to say 2014. I went to Chile, and I had the opportunity. The opportunity was presented to me to go to a mountain instructor school down in Chile, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going." That was awesome. So I left. I went down there for 9 months. Either way, one specific incident in there was tons, but one specific incident, we had to qualify to rock climb, whether it be traditional rock climbing, just all of them, trad, every single type of rock climbing. I was on my last test, and it was a trad route. It was a traditional route. So it was like a knot. And I know that these terms probably throw you off a little bit, but some people out there, I'm sure, it was 5'9", I want to say. But there was only like one move in that whole climb that made it a 9, which is a higher level. So 5'9" to 5'11". Okay. So the last move was like a dynamic move. I had to thrust up like 2 feet and grab like a small little hole in the rock. And if I didn't make that, then I was going to be sent home. I had 3 chances to do it. 3 chances to do it. That's what they gave me. And I made it on the 3rd chance. I made it on my very last one, very last second. And I learned so much from that. That struggle of climbing that rock every single time, and then getting to that last hole, that last grab, that last hold, and sticking that last hold, that taught me so much. Just getting the aspect of just sticking it out and focusing in and understand, and really being calculated about every small little thing. That was one of those things.
Yeah. What I was thinking when you were listening is, like, this is, I think, the 2 definitions of struggles, where it makes it good and where it makes it bad. When you know your purpose right? When you know your purpose and you know what you're going for,
yeah,
then the struggle's worth it, right? Then it's a good struggle because you can see an outcome, or you see a line, or you see some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, even if it doesn't have a definition or a name to it. But when you're lost and you don't know who you are and you're just going and going and you have no purpose and no being and nothing, that's when struggle's hard. So I'm actually, this is like my own self-therapy here, is if I'm feeling like icky in my struggle and it's hard and awful, that must mean that it's coming from an empty place. Like,
yeah.
but if the struggle is like bringing me that good feeling inside, then I know it's aligned with where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. And you know, there were so many struggles during that entire 9 months too. That you make me think of some more things. You know, it's just, I get another key point to all of that, a key element to those struggles sometimes is having somebody that's in that immediate circle that can help lift you up, right? So I remember going through that 9 months, and we're talking about Chile, and I'm not going to go into too many specifics, but it's the Chilean army, and it's a little bit different than the American army, a little bit more lenient on things as far as discipline. Let me put it that way. All right. I got my ass kicked. My language, but I did. And there were moments where I was just like, man, holy smokes, you know, this is tough. But I had one other guy there, was one other American there with me. And he kept me up. He kept me up in certain cases. Like, hey, you look at this and the other side of it. You're gonna learn a lot, and you're gonna see it, you know, and you're gonna see the struggles were really good for you. And you can't see that sometimes when you're going through it, but you just keep pushing. You just keep pushing, keep pushing. But then now looking back 6 years, I'm like, wow, what that did for me, and what he did for me, and how he lifted me up, and you know, just helped me move along. I can go all the way back to '99 with my brother in basic training in some instance where he did the same thing for me. Mm-hmm. Vice versa, I came full circle with my brother because he went to Kuwait last year, deployed for the first time because he had, long story short, he got out for some time medically, but he went back in and he came to me, so it was full circle, came full cycle. He was asking me for some stuff, you know, because he hadn't been built in that way. Yeah. So he got his first deployment last year in Kuwait. So I lifted him up a little bit and then helped him. He's married with 3 children as well right now too. So that was another thing that I've helped him out with. But yeah, very, very, gosh, we can talk for another 2 hours on that.
I know. And the show's already over. And I'm like, huh, yeah. Oh, so anyways, you're in North Carolina, right?
Yes.
So at the end of this, when I drive to North Carolina, we are so going to dinner and gonna like jam out another like mental philosophy.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Yes.
But before I let you go, my last and final question for you, and I ask you to answer it. The first thing that comes to your mind, don't read too much into it, because you're a little analytical, not allowed. In this moment right now, Derek, what does love mean to you?
What does love mean to me? Yeah. That's a 2-hour conversation. Everything.
Okay. Perfect.
God, that's God's purpose. Mm-hmm. And this year especially has highlighted that in me a lot. And that's the core. That's everybody's core. Whether you think so or not, that is your core. That is that key piece that God instilled in you and everybody that we all need to get back to and understand, because without that, I think everybody's starting to see what happens right now. Right. What's going on out there. So what does that mean for me? That's the short. That's a dinner or two.
Yeah.
Because there's a long version of that.
Yeah.
It's everything.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing a little snapshot into who you are. And I can't wait to see what the future brings and what you bring to the future, actually. Usually I say what the future brings for you, but I feel like more it's the other way. So.
My team.
Yeah.
Team.
There we go. There we go.
So,
We'll start there. But to everybody else out there that is watching, thank you as always. And remember, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Until next time, we will see you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Danny. Thank you.